My number 9, episode 7. This, I'm gonna say this, 'cause I said this to you earlier. I really want to watch episodes 8, and you better be glad that I didn't. But I know apparently
you're going to be frustrated. You're going to be frustrated with episode 8. You're not going to be disappointed, but you're going to be frustrated.
Maybe we'll see. I'll take that challenge. But so we didn't got any new characters, but we got some updates on some current characters. But let's get to the episodic review. It's not really a review, it's just a covering what happened. Belonging is the 7th episode of the first season of the Mighty Nein. After the Mighty Nein prove their worth, the gentleman offers another assignment to steal a mysterious Kreen artifact. Competing desires, however, lead the 9 on separate journeys throughout the Dash. While in Dynasty, Essek betrays Virat after a devastating loss. Oh, do I got some feelings on Essek? We're going to take our time and get to that.
And Essek specifically?
Yeah, I got some feelings about Essek. It's just
he's
about what he did.
He's a dirtbag. I don't care how much he loves his mom. He's a dirtbag.
I guess we're talking about this now then. Okay. So after the Mighty Nein separate, we get dragged off into another side story. So one thing I also want to confirm really quick too, if some people aren't aware, is that Virat and Essek are both supporting characters. And as far as I'm aware, I know Essek is being voiced by Matt Mercer, who's the DM for the Critical Role team. So he's the one that makes these. He's the one that he's controlling the face of everything. I'm saying this 'cause I think it's possible that Essek might get killed at some point. Because apparently some of his characters are getting killed off. Matt Mercer specifically. At least for what I've seen so far, like, it seems like some of his characters don't seem to matter. They're just kind of there to be there. But yeah, Essek basically after Virat finds out at the end of last episode that Essek somehow knew about the attack, and he beats him up and says like, "How did you know?" And without Essek really saying anything, Essek just looks at him with a ashamed look on his face, and he's like, It was you who gave them our relic." And then basically after that gives Essek an ultimatum, which he really shouldn't have. He used to be alive right now if he didn't. Gave him like a day to go and tell the Queen himself about him taking the Luxon beacon. And of course Essek doesn't.
But not only does he not,
his mother ends up finding out that this has been going on behind her back. And apparently later on, Essek's mother ends up talking to the Queen, who I didn't even know that was the Queen until I was looking, because I was looking at the woman who I think they call her. What's her name? Is she in the secondary characters? Hold up. I think you wrote her name down here, and I saw it. I don't remember it. Where is it? Where is
I did write her name.
Oh yeah, here it is. Layla's Queen, the Bright Queen. I didn't know that was her at first. I was like, is that her? Because I thought maybe she had giant horns like she did in the crown, but I wasn't sure because the crown kind of looked like it was a part of her being at first. Clearly it wasn't. The giant horns were just an attachment through her crown. But she tells the Queen this. And I guess it was surprising, and it didn't really occur to me until I was watching reactions. Essek's mother doesn't rat her son out. As far as we are aware, the Bright Queen did not know that it was Essek that took the thing, and she believed that it was Rat.
No, she knows that Essex took it. Oh no, the Bright Queen didn't know, but his mother did.
That's what I'm saying. As far as I know, the Bright Queen didn't know, even though his mother knew but didn't rat her son out.
Right.
That's what I was saying. Like, for whatever reason, his mother didn't rat him out.
Because her mother loved him more than everything else combined, just as much as he loved his mother more than everything else combined.
I don't really know if she really loved him more than anything else, because I feel like there was a mother's love that was in there. Because I mean,
dude, she was watching him destroy her entire people and culture and way of life by giving their most powerful weapon to their enemy, or at least someone that decided to be their enemy.
She only found out after the fact, though. She wasn't aware of any of that happening until she overheard.
How do we know when she found out?
Because she was up there on the stairwell, and then she looked really shocked as if she didn't know this information.
Well, she still didn't turn him in.
Yeah, she died to prevent anything else, because she literally whispers to her son's ear as she's about to get stabbed by him to
bring it back
to return the beacon.
Yeah,
and he did not know she knew until that very moment. But I have my feelings are like twofold with Essek. It's like I am really upset that he pretty much like threw his own friend underneath the bus.
A very, very noble and loyal and good friend too, not just a dude. Like, sincerely good person that had been like really had his back through all things.
But when he had told it, when his friend told him, like Vrad said, like, why would you, like, do you have anything to say? And he repeats back what Vrad had told him. A part of me was like, oh, well, I see now. Mainly because I feel like a lot of this, I'm not gonna blame his mother. What I'm really gonna do is I'm gonna blame the trauma from what his mother told him to do. Was when they were doing the ceremony to remove her from consecration and then allow her soul to move on to the afterlife or wherever it goes in this world. I don't know. Like, I still feel like, and I'm not sure how you feel about this, but I feel like the mother telling her son to kill her was a bit too far. Cause like, I feel like, and this is just me, from a child's perspective, killing their parent, who he obviously really loves her, because he wouldn't have done half the crap he did if he didn't love her. To tell him to end her life, it's got to be the most traumatizing thing to ever happen to somebody. You sit there and your mother tells you to stab her and kill her, and then not only do you stab her one time, she grabs your hand as your hands about to release the blade and stabs her even further in as she dies. Like, regardless of how you really feel about him,
I think she was forcibly trying to initiate him into her religion.
What? I don't think it had anything to do with their religion.
Forcibly trying to. I think it was because she was making him participate in the religion, at least give up the appearance that he was a convert, like for the Bright Queen, to show that like his dedication. I think that was probably the reason. Like, she wanted the Bright Queen to see how dedicated he was to the faith, so that like she didn't go after him.
But the Bright Queen knows he isn't dedicated to the faith. She's already well aware of his non-faith.
I know, but it's kind of like demonstrating to the Bright Queen that he's coming around. You know what I mean?
How? Because like, I mean, like, well, I understand what you're talking about, but at the same time, it's like she can see in his face how much this is killing him. And like,
well, it's okay that it's painful. It's just, but he did it, you know?
Forcefully, he only stabbed her like an inch, apparently, because it didn't kill her. Because she really gets her hands out and grabs his hand and then shoves the rest of the sword into her heart.
Well, apparently in this show, nobody dies from the first fatal wound. As we saw right from the beginning of the episode.
No, he died. No, she died from the first sword thing. Did she?
Out of the game. They had to hit her twice. I'm sure it was a fatal blow and she was going to die eventually, but they had to hit her twice.
But basically, all I can really think about in that moment of like why Essek's mother told him to kill her, I was like, I feel like this was a punishment. Like, I feel like in a really weird situation, it wasn't a punishment for her, it was a punishment for Essek. Because she knew how much he wasn't going to let go. How much he was not going to let go of, you know, of what was going on. And it seemed like, I guess you could say it was a religion, because she definitely did mention that, like, this is to show you, everything must come. I hate you. I think that this is to
come on, give me a little credit. That was a little funny.
Yeah, dude. had a thought process and like I guess like this, it was a punishment for him because like he was hanging on so far and he wasn't a believer, like at all. I mean, he even says that I don't want to be a part of a religion that requires ritualistic killing. And when he said that to her, and then when because she was saying, like once you die, you get reborn, you have a second chance to forget everything you did in your first life. Which another thing they also keep bringing up too, and I guess it's something I never even was listening to too much with him, was the fact that he apparently hasn't been reincarnated, not even once. Like this current Essek is literally the first of a long line of, I guess, what he'll be reincarnated from. But I thought was interesting because they do keep bringing it up that Essek has not been reincarnated yet. So I'm just kind of curious. I wonder like why they keep bringing that up. Like maybe he'll get reincarnated later. I'm guessing is what they're leading to. But he does bring up that he doesn't get reincarnated. He hasn't been reincarnated yet. I guess another thing too they bring up too is like Layla's apparently was also reincarnated like a lot of times. I think as many times as his mother has been reincarnated, at least within the way they were insinuating. Because after the whole ritualistic killing that Essek's on the ground crying, traumatized from his mother's death, we see the Bright Queen also has a bloody nose, which I think is pretty much inferring that she has typhus. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was interesting that she carried on even knowing that she was indeed sick. So I wonder what that's going to look like later. Also another thing too is before we move on to that part of the episode, Essek tells his mother that he found a way to preserve her soul. So this is gonna be interesting when if he tells the Bright Queen that he's found a way to preserve souls that are indeed sick, because that's gonna be really important to her coming up. That she is also indeed sick. But yeah, I feel two ways about Essek. I feel bad for him because he had to kill his mother, but then also he's trash now that he's killed his best friend. He's straight up, to prevent himself from the one being killed. Which is like, good lord, that was kind of like they kind of just killed Veretta on spot, didn't they? Like they like no waiting, no prosecution, anything. They just straight up killed him on spot.
Yeah, this Bright Queen's proving herself to be kind of a loose cannon in that respect, in my opinion. Like, she also sent her whole group to war when everybody advised her that, that war was not going to work out very well. It's suicide. And she's like, we're doing it anyway. Fuck it. We'll do it live.
But the thing is, she was only acting this way because apparently the Lux and Beacons are a really huge part of, what their society is about, which is reincarnation. Which it brought up an interesting point in my brain about that. Is it seems interesting that this entire society, they do not value death at all. Well, I mean, I guess they kind of value it more than others, but they don't value the permanence of death. Actually, no one stays dead in their society. Eventually, they'll come back. They'll come back in another body with their memories bleeding into the current new host. Which I didn't want to say if I can't clarify my whole confusion on that whole matter. I think I understand it now. My initial thought process on the whole, when I was saying that, I thought, what happens to the other soul inside the body that when the baby is born. I guess I wasn't understanding that actually what was really happening was the soul definitely gets put into the body, but the soul just bleeds memories into the person's body. So I guess it's not really a really true reincarnation. It's just that their memories get sent to the next host so they can remember the memories of the last person. Yeah. So I guess it's like a whole new person, a whole new being. It's just that they got memories of the other person.
No, please. New fantastic point of view.
That is not a fantastic point of view.
No one to tell us no or where to go.
Actually,
and say we're only breathing.
One last thing before we move on to the rest of the episode. What happens to the person that, say, if Essek gets away with it and no one finds out that he stole the beacon, and then he dies? What's going to happen to the person that gets Essek's memories? Either the person's going to say, "Oh God, I killed that man. What's going on? It's like, where am I? Am I Essek? It's like, Essek went through all that, so I was like, you know, when he does get reincarnated and put into the Luxon Beacon, well, I mean, maybe he won't. Who knows? I mean, he doesn't sound like he really wants to. Like, he views that thing as a mechanism more than anything else versus a religious property. I mean, a religious artifact that the others do. Which just kind of makes me wonder, because I know they said the Luxon Beacon was primordial. So based off of that, it sounds like this thing has been around before the Dro were around to make it a, you know, a religious artifact in the first place. So that kind of makes me wondering, I wonder like where this thing came from, and maybe is it something else entirely? I wonder if it came from that rift. It's just a random thought that I don't even know anything about. It'd be funny if it did. That'd be really funny if it did. Huh?
Highly unlikely, but you make a good point that introducing that multiverse moment doesn't really make sense so far, because like they didn't do anything with it.
I think maybe
like why did they introduce that? Do you know what I mean? That's a good point. Like, why would they spend a whole episode, or really the better part of 2 episodes, introducing that if they weren't going to do something with it?
Well, from my understanding, the gods that exist in this world in the D&D universe, like they exist in different universes anyway, don't they? It's like they're actually existing beings, just in a different. They're in a different like parallel universe or whatever like that, and they just give power to their. I guess I'll get to that. Very beginning of the episode, Kira Tasha dies. I was not aware that she was a Cobalt Soul. I'm laughing because it's like it's really ridiculous how fast Trent like turned everything around in his favor, and Daragna, she pretty much tells Trent like, I was just a messenger. I had nothing to do with this, as a way to prevent him from targeting her with any of his vengeance. I thought that was funny. I also thought what was interesting about their interaction with each other, at least to me at first, I don't think this anymore, but at first I thought, I was like, are they flirting? Do they have the hots for each other or something? And then after he threatened her life, I was like, okay, never mind. Because they were kind of talking to each other almost like maybe they had a thing at some point, and at first I was thinking, but then only after I was like, oh, all that really was just them threatening each other. That's all that was. It wasn't sexual tension. I was like, okay. You had something to say?
No, sir.
Are you sure? 'Cause I thought you had a point to make.
No, sir.
But yeah, after that, like after Kira Tasha gets killed, apparently, according to a lot of people watching this show, the hottest character. Make of that.
Who is the hottest character?
Kira Tasha. A lot of people have commented on like, no, not the black woman, not the hot girl. Is what I was hearing.
Okay, if you say so.
But a lot of people seem to be attracted to her. This is what I can tell. Well, she's dead now. But after then, you know, Trent and Daragna have their chat, and then he's like, well, if I see you again, like if you get in my way again, I will kill you. And Daragna's like, I like to see you try, which is like, I guess should have been a red flag. I was like, she doesn't seem afraid of him. And thinking back on it, never seemed afraid of him either. Even in the first episode when she was shown, it didn't seem like she was afraid of him. From there, I'm trying to remember. I guess I could just. That is a Supernatural. Don't mind me. That's a different show I'm watching. For the funds. Apparently, Amazon doesn't care if these clips are shown on YouTube. They will copyright claim it, but it doesn't seem like they care. But I thought it was interesting. Oh, that's the wrong episode. Shoot. Whoops. Previously on Avatar. Uh, oh yeah, apparently the two voice workers were there at the execution. And also something interesting that happens later on is like apparently Astrid finally tells Erdwolf, about Bryn. Well, I found it interesting, I didn't bring this up last episode review, that she didn't bring it up to him at all when she first saw that Bryn was there, that she had found Bryn. So that was interesting at first. Like, I don't know why now of all times she decided to tell that she's seen Bryn. Like, it seems interesting. Like, why bother not telling him before and wait until now? It's like a really odd choice. Part of me believes that maybe she still got feelings for him, and maybe Airwolf doesn't. Like, I'm not really basing it on anything. It just feels like I wonder about that. So the episode begins like with the Mighty Nine, but there's only 6 of you. Giving the gentleman the compass, and basically the gentleman has Kree, the Panther Lady, hand over the medallion thing that keeps Caleb from being seen. And honestly, I thought that was going to look differently, but apparently no, they somehow mass produce these things, apparently. I wonder where Bryn got his from, his first one that was broken. I wonder where he got that from. It doesn't sound like he came here.
Probably from space.
Now, after they get their prize and they're about to get ready to leave, the gentleman offers... Yeah, I'm not even going to acknowledge that. But the gentleman has like, I have another request for you. And then as he says that, Bo gets up and says, yeah, I know, I'm out. And before she gets out, a giant woman blocks her way out. And he pretty much brings up that he's looking for the Luxon Beacon. He doesn't say it's a Luxon Beacon he's looking for, but I can tell that it is because he says he's looking for an artifact, a Kreen artifact. Which at first I thought was weird. But we get clarification on that later.
Mm-hmm.
But like after that, like, I guess he's gonna give them a choice. He gives them a choice, I guess, to accept the quest. And I guess they don't accept it right then, but they all leave. Because like all the information was like, Trent Ickathon is not in prison like Bo thought he would be, and that concerns her. So she ends up leaving the group to go and check on her, check on Daron. As soon as she leaves, Jester and Ford also leave. Ford saying that like he promised her mother that he would take her to Zadash. And they're in Zadash now, so he's got to take her to the hotel. So he leaves, saying that he will miss everybody, and so Jester as well. Jester, funny little thing I find funny is that when she hugs Caleb, you can hear her take a breath first, breathe in really quick before she hugs him. And then she's like, take a bath, and then she lets go of Caleb and breathes out again. I thought it was kind of funny that they had a little detail like that Caleb still stinks. Which is interesting that he stinks so badly. But then they leave, and then Molly ends up leaving too, saying that he's gonna go to the carnival because they need somebody like Molly Muck there, and he leaves too. So basically, Caleb and Nod are left, are alone again, like they were a couple episodes ago. So basically, they head off, and I want to say, who's the first one that we deal with on their adventures in Zadash, because this entire episode is like different pairings, which are kind of funny. Oh, I guess like Nod and Caleb end up getting a hotel room, I guess, and Nod's like saying, I can help you, we can sell this stuff to gain some of your materials, but I can steal the rest. And then Caleb just, his tone changes, like, why are you here, Nod? And he asks her a second time, only for Nod to say like, I'm your friend. And we get an interesting detail about Nod. Getting interesting details about Nod everywhere, I'm noticing. But Nod was looking for a ditch to die in before she had met Caleb, and basically and everybody else, and apparently being with them made her forget that she wanted to die, which I thought was interesting. We're get a lot of details that Not doesn't like who she is, or at least she's got a problem with who she is. But it just like I don't know why they're really keeping Not as there's a lot of things about Not they're keeping to the close to the vest. Like I'm very interested in knowing a little bit more about her. Especially considering this campaign's supposed to be more cinematic. They're doing a good job animating it. But after that, like, Caleb gives her a list. It says, like, you don't have to be in a hurry. We'll leave to take care. Just take care of, I think he's like, take care of Trent in the morning, and then she leaves. And Caleb, obviously a deceitful move, decides to, well, basically he sends her off and tells her not to be in a hurry so he can like leave before she gets back, after he summons his like animal friend, who by the way sticks around this time a lot longer in this episode than before. But I thought was interesting because the way it sounded, like when he first summoned Frumpkin, he disappeared before he was ready for it to disappear. This time he hung around way longer, almost like he was there permanently. I don't know what that was about. He grabs Frumpkin, and then he has, he's like, we're going to go and take care of one last adventure, which is apparently a deal with the Trent Ikathon. And before he leaves, he leaves a bottle of wine on the window, along with a button that apparently Not was holding onto in her pocket. And I wasn't sure, like, did Not give him that button, or did he steal that from her? But there was like a button. Yeah, the button.
I think she like. Suggestion is that she kind of has OCD about buttons, like she needs to collect them all or something. And because somebody else gave her a button in a previous episode, if you remember.
No, but why did Caleb have it? Because I mean, he put it down on the bottle next to the wine he left for her.
I don't know why he has that specific button. It might have been a button off one of his pieces of clothing or something. But I know that Not seems to be a hoarder of buttons.
Is there a scene that she has a lot of buttons?
It showed up. I wish I had a note about it because I definitely remember the scenes, but I just looked in my thing and I can't find any notes about it. But I know I think Molly gave him one in a previous episode, for example.
Oh, okay. Speaking of Molly, before he leaves, he hugs Not, and he tells Not to not steal from having people. And then she's like, well, okay then. And he gives back the money that she stole. So I'm like, she's really good at that.
Mm-hmm.
Like picking pockets and nobody noticing. I wonder how high her stealth is.
Also side additional shout out that they use that not only as a joke about her, but also to show that she thinks that Molly's a happy person.
Yeah, that's also true. I guess I glossed over that.
I love the subtle ways that they use moments to build relationships between the characters, and I just didn't want that to go miss. But like, I don't know, it was a way to kind of reveal that Not had an opinion about what type of person Molly was.
Yeah, it's true. That's an interesting thought. I realized I noticed it when it was happening, but I completely glossed over as I was talking.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they leave. So like Caleb leaves, like Not, and I think she comes back almost immediately after he leaves, or I think I'm wrong about that though. I'm just gonna go check really quick. No, that's the Caleb's. Not the Caleb. That's the Essex stuff. Okay, after he leaves, we meet Ford and Jester at the hotel that Jester's mother told Ford to drop her off at, and Ford does the Ford thing of like, I'm gonna just leave you here. Ford also gives hints that like he also has, I guess it sounds like he also has issues with getting into places with how he looks. which I never really thought. I guess half orc. I guess orcs in general. It's like one of the things I don't understand. Like, why does like why did it, why at least why not in Forrest's case, why they look so human? Maybe it's because they're the main cast. I don't know. I just like I never thought like goblins. I thought goblins looked worse than Not did. So that's why I've always taken her looking into a mirror as like, and she does it a couple of times here, and she's done it since before. Whenever she looks in the mirror, I get the feeling she doesn't like what she's looking at. And I've never heard of a self-hating goblin before. So I don't know. It's just like, and I'm not saying there can't be one. It seems really weird that they decided to go the route with her character as being a self-hating goblin. But even not even just that, it's like Ford also seems to have issues with getting into places. But I think this is different. I don't totally get what's going on, because I know like earlier, I never brought this up earlier, but there's also a small thing that gets brought up about Ford is that he doesn't have tusks, and that was brought up during the Molly episode when he got bullied by those like two guys, and they're like, "Hey, where's your tusks, big guy?" I didn't really bring it up, not thinking it was important, but I'm actually kind of curious if like maybe his own self-worth has something to do with him being a half orc. But like, I'm not sure what the other half of him is though. But Ford, turns I don't belong here, you do, and then Jester's like, no, you belong here too. And he's like, well, I gotta go and take care of something. I gotta deal with my own. I gotta like build my own path first. And Jester wants to come along, but then he tells her, no, this is something I gotta do by myself. And then she stays behind. And then as he's leaving, there's this beautifully animated, overly animated, I want to say, scene of Jester and Ford having a lovey-dovey moment. He kisses her on the cheek, but it's so well done that you can see her eyelashes. That's something they've never done before. They really make her really beautiful there, and I don't understand what was the purpose behind it. It just seemed kind of out of place and kind of interesting. But it was very Disney to me. I was like, what was that for? Like, they really put a lot of money into that scene. Someone else brought up the fact they really made Ford look handsome there. I wasn't really paying attention to him, but it was like, yeah, they kind of gave him a chiseled look. And I'm like, again, Ford is never really drawn with a chiseled look either. So it was very interesting that they decided to go the extra mile of animating them in that scene that way. I just thought it was interesting and cute in a really interesting way too, because it's like, obviously, because like the DMs, as again, just to put something out there, the DM didn't really want relationships in his campaign. Laura Bailey, who's Jester, took that as a challenge. So them going out of their way to animate this scene was just kind of, I think, a big old middle finger to Matt Mercer.
Aww.
Because it was just like, it wasn't necessary. They could have easily had the same stock animation they were using for that scene, but no, they had to go and put their foot in it. And I was like, okay. And then for the rest of the episode, we never see the animation ever again. I'm like, it was so strange. I liked it. Don't get me wrong. I liked that moment. It was just like, it was clear that it was meant to send a message. Before it goes off, and then he turns the corner, pulls out the eye that he had taken from the treasure trove last episode, and pretty much gets in his ear, learn. I'm just like, dude, you gotta say more than just one word every time you communicate with me. Like, I can't get much from just one word answers from you. Ford then ends up like going to a church later to get some answers about like, gods and God's answering. I guess we get like one other like minor detail about Molly, and I'm pretty sure you caught this when it happened. As he was saying goodbye to Jester, do you think it was kind of interesting that he pulls out a card, gives it to Jester, and I think it's like Chaos and Joy, which a lot of people agree that it fits Jester to a T. But then after that, when he gives it to Jester, he says, "I'll make another one." Do you think that was weird? Because I thought that deck was sentimental for him, but apparently he can just make another card.
It was sentimental for him. That's why it was such a sacrifice.
I didn't think those cards were like something he could make. I thought he bought those from somewhere, which is like why I thought he could never really part with any of them. The fact that he said he can make another one seems interesting to me. probably doesn't mean anything,
Um,
but I'm just saying that it's just really, it's a very odd detail to say that I'll just make another one. It's like, wait, you made those? Because it makes me wonder, is like, is he really telling the future, or is he just pulling out cards to suit the situation? Because now I'm wondering about his fortune telling skills.
yeah, that's pretty fair.
So like, honestly, that tarot cards were like something you bought as a group, and
I
you
kind of
shuffled
like
them
that
and did better.
I kind of like that it's ambiguously bullshit, though.
I don't know. It just, to me, it was like, not that it really does anything. It's just one of those really random things that I'm like, I hear and I pocket away in the back of my brain only to remember that it happened later, and it bothers me then. And it's just like, why? I thought those cards were like something that that he found somewhere and he was learning to do fortune telling. And I'm guessing him making those cards doesn't really take away from the fortune telling. But now I'm actually kind of curious if he's just pulling the cards that suit the situation. When he says that he'll make another card, because I'm like, first of all, how did he know he was going to pull joy and chaos? It's like, apparently he knew he was going to pull that card out, and that's why he gave it to her, because he's going to make another one. It just seems very
It's also sort of weird
suspicious.
that sorry to cut you off. It's also sort of weird that he usually the cards are opposites of each other. You know what I mean? Like home and travel or something like that. But like joy and chaos are very different, but I wouldn't go so far as to call them opposites.
I think there's a connection because, like, I mean, he gave the jester who apparently, I feel great. It fits her personality. Like chaotic, good.
Yeah.
But
even though joy and goodness are different, that does make sense. Jester and Molly, I feel it. I'm sorry, Jester and Molly. Yeah, I feel like are more similar to each other than most of the characters.
What do you mean beyond the fact that they share a race?
No, I think what I mean is they both like are kind of like people that are used to kind of balancing everything together and like to negotiating like conflicts and are very like outwardly like jocular, like if you know what that word means. If you don't, which most people don't, jocular is defined as fond of or characterized by joking, being humorous or playful. They're both kind of jocular on the outside, with lots of signs of deeper depth on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that. Like I think that there's a lot of content that gets that people miss out of with them that shines through, and I think that they see the other dimensions of each other better than some people would. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think they got a little bit of a kinship beyond species.
I was just kind of making a joke about the fact that they are both tiefling, but I mean, I get what you're saying. But
yeah, but I mean, sure, fist bump. They're both tieflings too.
But after 4, the Jester had their their meaningfully animated Disney princess moment. Sorry, I had to pull up the animation because I needed to pull up a picture of Jester's face. It was like there was more detail in it than it was initially, and I don't know why they did it. I'm still really on that. I'm like, what? I hope they put Ming Na Win, huh? Have I seen her somewhere else? Good lord, this woman was in Mulan. Wait a minute. What? So Dairon's actress? She was Mulan. In that movie, apparently. Because I think she was Mulan. She might be something. She might be another character in that movie, but she was in the Mulan movie for sure. Wasn't aware of that. But in the next scene over, we have Bo walking around looking for Dairon. Dairon finds her, and then Dairon, as usual, tells like, "Don't look at me." And as she follows her, which is funny because like people are gonna see that something's up when Bo ain't looking at you as you're talking. But she explains like, you know, Bo should not head back to the Cobalt Soul. As they turn down an alleyway, she explains that something went wrong and now her life's in danger, so she's gonna have to go into hiding for an undisclosed amount of time, and tells Bo that like she'll reach out to her to let her know when she can come back home. And right before she leaves, Batman style, she gives Bo a staff. Apparently Bo had not earned her staff, and then like she gave Bo like a staff. I had made the dumb pun at the moment that it happened. It's like, she's got a bow staff.
Mm-hmm.
It's a dumb thing. I just don't know why. I just found that funny that like, you know, it finally happened that, you know, Bo's staff showed up. But Bo is grateful for the weapon, and then as she looks up, Dairon's gone like Batman again. I was like, how did she do that? I really, and this is like a legitimate thing. It's like, I would love to Batman vanish in real life. You don't know how much I would love to do that, because it's the most. It is by far the dumbest but coolest trope in animation, period.
Have you ever seen the Badman skit?
I feel like I've seen a few Batman skits. You talking about the stuff in College Humor?
Yeah, this where he tries to do the vanishing trick.
Yeah, you talking about the time when he's talking to George? Is that George? I forgot his name. Yeah, this okay.
Commissioner Gordon.
Commissioner Gordon. Yeah, he's talking to Commissioner Gordon. And he's like, as he's trying to talk, Commissioner Gordon is trying to turn around, and that's when he's trying to vanish. He's like, "What are you trying to do? It's you're supposed to turn around as I vanish." Yeah, he's really bad at it. Yeah, I've seen that skit. I think I've seen all the Batman skits. It's so dumb, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know. And I think there's a point in the skit that he's like behind something and Commissioner Gordon still sees him. Yeah, I would love to know. I mean, I get the trope, but at the same time, it's just like, it's so interesting. I'm like, I wonder where that came from, the whole Batman vanishing suddenly, inexplicably. It's like, it feels like it feels like it had to come from somewhere. It doesn't like something
it comes from the fact that Batman excuse me. It comes from the fact that Batman, one of his background things that he was trained in was to be a magician.
Wait, is that what the magician thing he was doing was about? Is him being able to vanish? Like, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, Batman. Batman is a magician, among other things. He was trained as a martial artist. He was trained in a bunch of things. But like, are you familiar? Like, if you know anything about like Zatanna, for example,
yeah, I'm aware of Zatanna. The crime fighting.
Then you know that you know, he has a lot of background with magic, like, because Zatanna was and he were trained under the same magician who was Zatanna's father. He met Zatanna while he was being trained as a magician.
Oh, okay. Like I say, explains that Batman moment when Zatanna shows up and they knew each other. Okay, I was very curious about like his background with her, because I was like, why does he know her? Like, again, I just attributed it to Batman being a playboy. But okay, never mind. But not Batman, Bruce Wayne. But Dairon disappears like Batman. And then after that, I think that's it for. No, it's not it for Bo. There's another moment we have with Bo. It's kind of funny. Oh yeah, then we cut back to Caleb, and Caleb's gone. Well, no, we don't cut back to Caleb. We cut back to the inn, and then Matt comes back saying, "It's like it's amazing how much money people walk around in their pockets. It's irresponsible." I was like, "How many people did she steal from?" But I hope none of them were happy. But she shows up, and then she sees that he left her. It was interesting that the moment that she walked in, she knew immediately that he had deserted her, which was sad. And it got sadder when she pulled the cork on the wine, and she's like, "Friends may desert you, but booze never leaves you high and dry." And she takes a couple of sips and looks at the mirror, and then throws the bottle at it, and then realizes that was all she had, and it goes down to the floor and starts like licking the alcohol off the ground. I was like, man, that's a sad image. Like, that's a sad image. Like it not as of all her quirks and silliness is a really, I don't know what I want to call her a tragic character, because that means something. But it just seems like she's got like bad. She's come from a bad background. I just feel really bad for her, like, at this point, because Caleb left her. And then we have the mysterious Mollymuck, who becomes even more mysterious because, like, he ends up following the Panther Lady Kree as she's like being mysterious and walking around with a hood on, and she disappears into a building. Molly's like, "I wonder where you are going." He goes in there. The building's empty, only for him to take this blood vision and see that something serious happened here, because there's a lot of blood. There's like an Illuminati symbol on the floor somewhere. A lot of blood everywhere. Apparently he's hearing screaming or something going on in the background. Like there's words being whispered, and he's like, what's going on here? Now, like, good gracious, like something demonic happened here. Like what in the world? Like why did she go into this building? Like, I got so many questions. After he has his panic attack of all the blood, we go back to Ford. He's in the church temple, and he's asking the priest there like some kind of questions about like if like gods normally talk to people, and then the priest brings up he's heard of a situation where a god has in fact chosen somebody as like their chosen fighter, what I thought was interesting wording. Makes me wondering if he heard it wrong, but he says like, well, I heard it's conceivably rare, but I have heard of it. And he's like, is there a way for the chosen hero to talk to their deity? And he's like, why are you asking? And he's like, after he gives them the details, like, well, this gods sometimes speak to their chosen through the elements. He says fire, lightning, water, and of course like water. And he's like, why are you asking? He's like, asking for a friend, and disappears.
He's like, abort mission.
He's like, asking for a friend. He's like, why are you asking? I have this voice in my head that tells me to learn sometimes. Sometimes it tells me to seek. One time it told me to run, but I actually disobeyed that one.
But to be honest, right now it's telling me to consume, so I gotta go grab a bite to eat. I'll catch you later.
Yeah, actually, it started out very faint, and now it's getting louder. It's really telling me to consume. I don't know what's going on here. I better leave. Like,
yeah, it seems like it's time to get some lunch.
Again, that guy really needs to say more. He does say more later, but it's like he really needs to say more than just the one word into his ear. I will admit, yeah, Ford has up to this point followed that voice inexplicably with no reservation. I will admit that. But oh, and then we get our good old friend Caleb, who goes to the invulnerable vagrant? I guess this is a place that people know about in D&D, at least in this world's campaign. But he goes to the inn, and he talks to whatever is this thing's name? I forgot the name of this thing that's here. What's the name of he talks to Poohman's soul, who at first I thought was freaking what's his name? Patrick, the guy who voices John Swanson, Family Guy, or people probably know him better for his voice of Grunk from The Emperor's New Groove. I thought that was him, but apparently no, it's not. It's Matt Mercer doing an impression of him. That sounds very close to his actual voice.
Oh yeah,
like it was very disturbing because I was like, man, that voice sounds so familiar, huh?
What was he saying?
No, Pooh Man Soul's voice sounded very close to Grunk from Emperor's New Groove, but I
Who's
thought
Pooh
that
Man Soul?
the little land guy that's inside the shop that Caleb visits.
Mm-mm-mm. Okay, I'm sorry.
You okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but he talks to Pooh Man Soul, and as he's talking to him, he's like, "Oh, wait, first, before you do this, you gotta be cleaned." And it apparently does some cleanse spell on him that cleans Caleb up, but I thought was interesting because not only does it clean him, it brushes his hair back, shaves him, and then his clothes become like straight. I'm like, that's a detailed spell. What in the world? And then he Caleb's asking for magic ink and paper. And then as he's getting that, one of the Pooh Man Soul clones, because apparently Pooh Man Soul Prime is in the back room doing God knows what. But Caleb ends up stealing some parchment for some reason I don't completely understand. Because after he steals it,
probably it's magical stuff that's more expensive than he can afford.
But he's still buying parchment and ink though. It just seems kind of strange. It also seems like he picked up Knott's habit of grabbing things, because he picked that thing up really quick and packed it away. I'm like, oh dang, I guess he learned something from Knott. This is the way that I took it, because he stole that real quick. Because I don't think Caleb stole anything before. This is all Essex stuff we talked about. I will say that the relationship between the Queen and Essex's mother seemed really close. These two were maybe something in the past. She seemed really close to her, and it didn't seem like Essex shared that same relationship with the Queen. And then we cut away to our damsel, not in distress, Jester, who is in a room in the hotel, apparently trying to prove that she's not crazy, to prove the traveler exists. And this is another one of those sad moments of the show. I was like, man, I kind of feel bad for her because she obviously seen something of the traveler. I want to bring up something that actually it thought kind of was put in my head a little bit about the traveler, and it made the traveler kind of interesting. So the thought was, what if because we know Jester was hidden away in the chateau as a little kid, right? Like she wasn't really allowed to go out. Apparently, for some reason, we never really figured out why. We just heard that from her mother that she wasn't really allowed to go out and do things, even though she did do this one time, and that's what got her sent to the hotel over here. So I brought up that maybe it's because Jester was a young kid, and she might be stronger than we think she is, and maybe she had birthed an imaginary friend that no one else could see but her. And it's possible that maybe the traveler just stopped existing because she met Ford and everybody else. Almost she gave birth to the traveler, and for some reason she thinks it's a god, and maybe in reality it's not. It's just something that she made, a construct or something like that. What do you think of the idea that maybe Jester made the traveler and she just doesn't know it yet?
I think we're gonna come across the traveler eventually. I just think that being the pawn for something bigger seems to be an ongoing theme in this.
So you don't agree with the theory that maybe she created the traveler?
I think it's possible. I just don't. I think it's possible. I just don't think that. I'm trying to think of the best way to say this.
I mean, just say
I don't think
it.
I don't think it's consistent with the way that the story has been built so far. I think it's possible, but I don't think it's consistent with the way the story's been built so far. I think that from what we've seen about the story, like, I'm sorry, I'm stuttering my explanation so much.
It's fine.
I think from what we've seen about the story so far, the characters all seem to be part of something bigger. They all seem to be the pawns of something bigger. And if I run down the list, Caleb was the pawn of Trent. You know what I mean? Not a god, perhaps, but the next best thing in this universe to a god. Not we don't know anything about yet, so I leave that up. Bo, we don't know anything about. Yasha, we don't know anything about, but she's definitely being possessed by something that's not her. Ford is the pawn of either a god or some sort of Cthulhian horror. Molly seems to have... We find out in this episode when like his blood activates that wall and stuff like that, Molly seems to be very important and doesn't remember it. So he might be the god that, like, past him might be the god that he doesn't know that's controlling his life. It just seems to be like a very like constant theme for everybody but Bo and Not. So it seems to me like it would make sense if they were indeed, pawns.
I mean, okay, here's my response against specifically Jester. I mean, because this is my thing is like, now I can sit there and say, I mean, if it is true that Traveler is some type of god we don't know anything about, what the heck is he doing? That's my biggest problem right now. Is like, it seems like for some strange reason, like after she's left the chateau, Traveler has been absent. Like he has been MIA. I don't understand why. It doesn't make any sense. Some people have thought maybe he's tied to the chateau, but why would he be tied to that place? That doesn't make, well, I can't say it doesn't make any sense. It just like, it seems weird because like before then we've seen that she's talking to the Traveler when she's like out, like causing problems for that mayor guy. He seems to be there and then he disappears at some point during the time when she's being chased by him at a later point. I'm very confused. That's like why I would believe that maybe she had accidentally created this thing. And I only said that because apparently somebody had brought up that like apparently those little like hamster things that she's been forming that are doing things for her, those like little sprite things, whatever they are. Apparently her class has something to do with what they actually are, and they're not what they appear. So the idea that like maybe she created him, to me, makes a little more sense. Is like maybe that's like maybe she accidentally just dematerialized him. But the idea that Traveler is some kind of god because she believes that, is like, I guess, but it's like I don't know, because like if gods give you power in this universe and she claims that she got the power from him being gone, wouldn't that disconnect her from his power? Like how is she still capable of using it? Or am I missing something about like the way powers and deities work in D&D? Because like I thought like, well, I guess maybe I wouldn't if the Traveler still gave it to her. Like if he disappeared, maybe she still have it. I don't know. So something's off about the Traveler, and I could never really put my hand on it because it seems like she was talking to nobody in the very first episode we saw her, and after that she kept on calling on the Traveler, and everybody else seems to not be able to meet this person. It just makes it strange that like when she really needs to prove that he exists, he doesn't seem to prove that he exists. Like it's a very weird circumstance that she's in right now. Because later on in the episode, she thinks she's crazy now. So what does that do? Like, now she doesn't think that Traveler really does exist. I mean, if he does exist, I mean, hey, I'm not gonna fight that. But it's just like I don't know. It just seems really strange.
It'll be really sad if that's the storyline for her, though. It'll be really sad if that's the storyline. This happy-go-lucky person that's very giving and supportive, and then suddenly, like, it doesn't work out for her. It's just everything she's hoped and dreamed for is dead, or never existed in the first place. It'll be a hard journey to get from that point to the end game here.
I mean, here's the thing. I don't want her to be crazy. I've said this on multiple occasions, and I still believe that. But I don't understand, like, if the Traveler does, I mean, of course I don't understand. This thing just started. But I'm just saying that, like, normally at this point, I would have my own theories about whoever this guy is, because, I mean, at some point, we'd have gotten proof that he exists, right? At this point, I feel like we would have gotten some proof, but, like, there's been no proof. Like, not even her talking to somebody beside her, because, like, for the most part, she sees him. No one else does. And I find that strange that all of a sudden she can't see him. So part of me is like, maybe she made him, but I don't know. It's like, because if it is a belief thing, that shouldn't be a problem, because she believed in him the entire time up till now. When he stopped, he didn't even show up for her when she's by herself. So it's like this being, whatever he is, isn't shy, as far as we can tell, if he existed. But it just seems like, to me, doesn't it strike you as strange that he suddenly disappeared, even though she was seeing him for the most part for a lot of her life?
Yeah, that doesn't feel like it makes more sense if they resolve that than if it never happened in the first place.
I mean, her making him as like an actual construct, it wouldn't invalidate his existence. You just say that she's really powerful and she made life. But I mean, I don't know that I had no proof of that either. It's just like, I find it, because there's been no proof of the Traveler existing other than her talking to him in that very first episode, and him talking back to her. By the way, I also did pick up on that too. Like, she's been having conversations with this thing, and according to her, it gave her power, which, like, kind of like, neutralizes the whole idea that she made him in the first place. But it's just like, where did he go? Why did the being suddenly disappear? Makes absolutely no sense. I mean, unless Ford, but then again, Ford's not there anymore. So if it has something to do with Ford, it would have shown back up again, wouldn't he? Unless there's more to this whole thing about him disappearing when she met Ford. I can't imagine.
You asked that again?
No, I'm just saying, with him disappearing after she met Ford, at first I was like, if it had something to do with Ford, wouldn't he have shown back up after Ford disappeared? Because, like, Jester and her were no longer together. When she was trying to summon him. It's like, it just, I don't know if Ford is connected to this somehow. I don't know what connection Ford would have to this, other than through that Cthulhian horror we saw later. I don't know, it just seems kind of weird to me that the whole thing, like, I like the idea that maybe she accidentally created a friend, and then that friend disappeared when she didn't need him anymore. Because I don't know if it would be sad. The only part of that would probably be sad is the fact that she needed to create a friend in the first place. But we know that, she wasn't allowed to leave the chateau by herself a lot as a kid. Well, she was isolated for some strange reason. After Jester has her moment, not seeing the Traveler, and then she comes up with a plan to get him to show his face. We cut away to Molly again, and as Spear had said before, he goes down in the basement and he bleeds onto a tablet that shows that, like, it has something to do with him. And the thought that he actually might be the god did cross my mind, but I'm very confused. I've never heard I mean, I don't play a lot of D&D, but the stories I have heard, I have never heard of a player being a god and not remembering that they were one, as being a part of their character arc. So it'd be one of the weirdest things I've seen so far, of, like, somehow a deity losing his memory, and not remembering who he was. Though he did go by the name Lucian at some point before he had forgotten his memory, which makes me kind of curious. When did he start going by Molly? I wonder when that happened. Like, how long ago was he Lucian before he became Mollymuck? This obviously happened before he became a part of the traveling circus. I'm not entirely sure when that happened. He goes down there, he sees that it's about him, and like, I guess they're worshiping him. And he's like, what in the world? And they cut away from that. And that doesn't get resolved at all. We kind of just get left with more questions because we don't ever come back to Molly in that area again. Because later on we see that, you know, he runs into a poster saying, do you need a friend? And he's like, okay, Fate, I get it. You don't have to be so obvious.
Yeah, see, he does at least somewhat believe his hype.
Huh?
Right?
What?
He does at least somewhat believe his own hype, right?
I don't know if Molly knows he has hype to begin with. I think he's very confused and scared. Mostly confused. But like, I don't know if he wants followers or not. That's the other thing too. It's like, he doesn't seem to be the type of guy that would like want, I guess he would want an entourage, but at the same time, I don't know. It seems like he would rather get to know people rather than having a group of like, you know, worshipers that don't really question him.
Mm-hmm.
That could be completely wrong again, because we don't know what he was like when he was called Lucian. Like again, there's like a lot going on with him in his past that we don't know. We know literally jack squat about, and I suspect next season is going to be diving into that based on how this episode ends. I don't know. I'm just making that guess considering. But he leaves, and then I think the next part. Well, it's the execution of Essex's mother, but we'll skip that. We already talked about that. But really quick, we see Bo inside of a bar as she's drinking and asking for another beer, and then some muscular chick walks up, or elfing woman walks up, takes her beer, drinks it, and then all she says, "You want to take this outside?" And then this woman is placing Bo against the wall, and all Bo says is like, "I needed this. You would not believe the day I was having." And as she's getting lower, she takes a whiff of Bo's armpits and says, "Oh, time out. You stink." And then she walks off, saying, "Maybe next time, cutie." I'm like, wow, dang, Bo. And then Bo walks off upset and flustered, and she's like, "Look, you dumb bitch." I was like, "Bo, you dumb bitch." I was like, wow, she really must be flustered.
That's funny.
She just like walks off, kicks a bucket. It's just, "Bo, you dumb
not
bitch."
only is it fair to say that not only did she turn out to be a lesbian, but she also turned out to be a dirty, stinking lesbian?
I'll go with the lesbian thing. I don't think I'm gonna call her a dirty, stinking lesbian, even though she was in fact dirty and stinking.
She is both dirty and stinking.
Let me fair about that. I was like, I'm gonna just call her a lesbian, but right now I know that she is both dirty and stinking. I'm just choosing to acknowledge the lesbian part.
Oh, okay.
Though I still don't know. I mean, she could be bi. You never really know. Right now, we know that she is into women. Right now,
then she
jumps
into bed with Ford, jumps into the pool naked with Ford, and has a completely platonic interaction that suggests that she is perhaps not bi.
Or she's just not into people like Ford. You never know. But, I mean, right now, we know that she's into women. Though, that woman was as big as a dude, so I don't really know. But she was probably the largest woman I've seen in this show yet. No, take that back. Yasha's probably the largest. Yeah, and she strikes out against this woman. I was like, geez, I feel bad for her because I know apparently she needed it. And then we go from that crazy moment to the next crazy moment, which is not apparently in the center square. She takes off all the bandages on her ears and takes her hood down, revealing that she has quite long, dark black hair, which was interesting. I was like, I didn't know she had a ponytail back there. Thereby confirming for anybody who wasn't aware if Not was a girl or not, even though the voice actor is indeed male, but yet Not is a girl. But what I find interesting here, again, as I keep finding interesting things about Not this entire show, this entire first season, Not starts screaming around like, "I am a stinking goblin, I'm dirty," like, and then all these human characters being cruel, like, "Hide your children, hide your wives." I was like, good lord, just a goblin. What is wrong with you folk?
Mhm.
You know, Not's just succumbing to her drunken tendencies, and then Jester finds Not, and she's like, "Oh, is this some street performance?" And then she finds out that quickly that this isn't a street performance because she's noticing everybody else is being afraid of Not, and she's like, "Yeah, piss off!" And then asking Not what's wrong, and then Not says like, she had forgotten that she was a goblin the entire time. I guess it sounded like she can live the way she was living, but like realized that after everybody had left that she was a goblin, so she was gonna act. If people saw her as a monster, she was gonna act like a monster, which I thought was even more sad. Again, Not's whole entire backstory interests me, and we got nothing about it.
Yeah.
like Not is interesting, and we know nothing about her.
Yeah, that's pretty fair.
Like, the only thing we definitely do know is that she learned from an alchemist who apparently she could not save because he died. Other than that, we know very little about her, and the fact that she lost another, essentially, it sounds like she lost a child at some point earlier on, as you say, inferring that she must be much older than we think she is. But I never really gave her an age. I don't even know how I thought she was. But yeah, like there's a lot of stuff that he kind of dropped. I'm actually kind of curious when we're gonna get the story hitch for her. But after like Jester kind of talks to her, she like Jester said, "I'm about to go and cause some chaos. You in?" And all Knots is like, "Well, I get to blow stuff up." And she's like, "Heck yeah!" And all she does is grin. I'm like, "Yeah, these two are going to be an interesting pair." So this is going to be an interesting pair. But after that, we drove the Ford inside the bathhouse, and then like after somebody leaves, Ford looks at the eye and then says, "Okay, you want water? Here we go." He plunges himself into the bath water, and at first I thought this was going to work, but I was like, "Well, I guess it's water."
And gee willikers, was
worked.
that kind of a mistake?
Huh?
That is the most mistakeful working thing in the world.
All he was really asking was like, what did he want? After he splunges in, he gets zapped to another world, out of his body, so to speak, and he starts talking to it. And at first, he sees Vandrin. And at first, when I saw Vandrin, I was like, "Wait, is this really him? Is he connected?" And I was like, "Nope, it's just a spirit talking to him, using Vandrin as a body or a vessel to talk to him." After he realizes it's not Vandrin, which by the way I want to bring up too. Now we know that wasn't Vandrin and that was this Cthulhu creature thing. With the way he speaks of like, I found it interesting that he says something really interesting that I do find intriguing, and I'm actually kind of curious about. He says to Ford, "Where is your anger?" Like that dude betrayed everybody on the ship. Like I did think that was interesting. I think Ford's entire like misfortune right now of ending up on that landmass and being caught up in all that stuff was all because of that one dude betraying the entire crew of people. Like, why wasn't he mad when he got on shore? I mean, yeah, he was more happy that he was alive, but after that he should have like thought about everything that happened. Like, why wasn't he more pissed off? Like, why wasn't he more trying to figure out where that guy went? Like, it does seem kind of strange that Ford did not seem angry at all. Like, I'm actually kind of curious if he thought he deserved it. But that's just a tiny little thing that was said through Ukatola, whatever his name was, through Vandrin's words. But it did seem, when he said that out loud, I was like, that is interesting. Why isn't he more mad? He should be way more angry than he is. But after that, he realizes that's really the spirit he's trying to talk to, and he's asking, "What do you want?" And he's like, "Consume." He's like, "Consume what?" And then like as he's like restraining him, Cthulhu Man decides to pull over the orb, and he's like pushing it into his stomach, and it's probably the most violent like spiritual thing that I've seen Ford go through at this point. And as this is happening, he's flailing about. Bo pulls him out, and she's like wondering, like, what are you like? What was happening? Like, you were drowning. You were having a fit. And then as he's breathing, he pulls up the orb, and she's like, "Hey, what is that?" And I'm like, first of all, I thought this was the men's bathroom, but apparently it's not because Bo's there.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was interesting. But really quick. Yeah, Bo pulls him out, and then we go back to Jester and we go back to the antics of Jester and Not, and then Jester like walks into the exact same temple that Ford was just at earlier, with a wrapped up Not pretending to be a baby possessed by a demon, and then she vomits all over the priest, and then the priest's like, "Oh, she's possessed by dark magic," and then they all tell everybody to get out. And as soon as they all get out, Jester and Not lock the door so they can't get back in. And then he start plastering everything about the traveler around and penises and everything all over the walls. And they deface the statue. And then the priest and everybody get back in. And the funniest thing the priest does happens here, and he's like, "What the fuck?" I thought that was funny. I was like, wow, having the priest curse out loud was actually interesting. And he's like, and then Not's like, "Oh look, I'm all better now." And he's like, "I thought you smelled like a dispensary or whatever he said." I was like, "Really? Like, you thought she smelled like she was drinking booze, and you didn't call her out then? Jeez." And apparently, as he's about to arrest everybody, like it all kind of goes belly up for the priest, because like he restrains Not only for Jester to jump down and like incapacitate some of his followers and knock him out, and then the little thing that was capturing Not breaks, and they all make a run for it after they knock over a candle, burning down the entire temple. And on the way out, all she has to say is like, "Beware your false gods! All the traveler will judge you." And then she says, "Toodles," and then she just runs off. I'm like, she just burnt down a place of worship. I don't know if that's gonna come back to bite.
Seems like a little bit, huh?
I don't know if that's gonna come back to bite her later. And then after they get out, she's like wondering what the traveler is, and she says like, "Oh, I really am crazy," and she kind of gets depressed a little bit, and then like Not kind of comforts her, kind of like how like Jester kind of comforted her back at the carnival. I mean, basically saying like, everybody's crazy, the world's crazy. Like, I still, you worthless junk. like
I like. There's a part of that quote that I really liked. Let me see. I wrote it down. Hang on. "It's easier to be crazy around crazy people." I liked that quote.
It makes sense. I mean, if nobody else thinks that they're crazy, you fit in with that girl. Why not? It's like having friends that get you. I did like that. How she kind of comforted Jester. And then Jester says that, and he's like, "Yeah, you're right." And then Jester, and then like Not kind of like sits down next to her and leans on her a little bit. And I thought that was a cute moment between those two. It's like it's a moment that I don't think I would have otherwise thought would have actually happened, with Jester and Not kind of like bonding. I kind of want to see Not and Ford bond too, considering that these two have like issues with each other for some strange reason. But with that, we have another bonding moment, I think, after that with Ford and Bo. I think. Yeah, the next bonding moment that I wasn't expecting to see was the moment between Bo and Ford. Ford's trying to figure out like experiencing letting it all out that like he doesn't know how he got here or like why like he got the way he is, and then Bo apparently takes that as him meaning that he doesn't know how he got green. And he's like, "No, I'd like my magic power is like the energy that I can shoot from my hand. I don't even know how I got here." And he brings.
And I like that moment too because it suggests that she's always wondered why he's green. She's like, maybe I'll find out. The most important thing I've been wondering about him all this time is, why are you green?
I really hate that because it's like, he's an orc. Why wouldn't he be green? But moving on from that, but they have a little moment of like, them getting each other about like feeling worthless and feeling that nobody takes them seriously, which is interesting considering that like when they first meet, Bo literally kind of just like dismisses him, makes fun of him. Like it's kind of interesting that it's interesting that Bo feels kind of the same way that Ford does about feeling worthless, and then she brings up the fact that like she can't even get laid in the dark alley, which by the way I was like, so you were trying to get laid in the dark alley. This wasn't like a one-time thing for you. But like And then 4 kind of says something that I think was kind of interesting too, of like, and it's an interesting quote too. Is like, it's funny. You think you are the worst piece of shit in the world, and also the shit. That cannot be possibly true. I was like, that's interesting. Like, it's interesting that Ford had that kind of insight about her, and then all she says like, you said that in a way that does not make me want to punch you. How? It's like,
which is like the most tough thing I think I've ever heard her say.
is that? I don't know. Well,
It's
I
pretty
guess
tough.
Toph would punch you. Any reason? Just give her. But and then like wondering basically how we'll talk about like, and they're the ones that come up with the idea like maybe we go and steal this beacon, that we prove that we're not a bunch of idiots, and then they agree on that, and then we move on from there, which I thought was kind of cool. That another moment that Ford kind of not really, but kind of shows that he has leadership material. You know, Bo's feeling lost, and he gives an idea that actually works out in terms of like going and accepting this deal to take this like to get the beacon back. And then we cut away from them. Oh yeah, and this moment that I forgot about, which was we cut away to the Volstruckers looking for Bren. Wait a minute. No, we don't actually. I mean, well, like the well, we can go back to Monologue really quick because like he's apparently dealing with he's dealing with his own issues about what or who he was. I'm guessing because he was shaking a little bit. Then he gets bumped into by a random stranger, and then he ends up like falling to his knees in front of a poster about like I guess about the festival, saying like, "You want friends? Like go to the festival." And he's like, "Okay, fate, you don't have to be so obvious." But I guess like proves that he believes in a higher power for some reason, considering how he acts and whatnot. But I guess he believes in a higher power. And he just like walks away, and I guess he like at that point he's heading back to the end too. But then we cut back to the Volstruckers at night, and then like Astrid's looking for Bren or Caleb, and like Erwolf's like, you probably like he hit himself again, like you probably won't find him. And as that's happening, she runs into a cat, which I thought was interesting because like, I wonder like why he let the cat run around free for a little bit. Almost like I'm wondering if he actually meant to get caught by them. I don't know, because like later on, after she chases the cat and the cat disappears over the wall, she's like, I found him. And then she does this overly athletic jump over the wall, runs into a crowd, shatters all the light bulbs on the street when people are partying on that street. And Bren sees this and he runs for his life, and then he thinks he gets away, only to get caught by a trap laid by Erwolf. And then they threaten his life, and then he let him go because they owe him, because he saved them. But also something I guess I brushed over, and I didn't mean to. This goes a little bit into Caleb's backstory a little bit. They put Caleb in an insane asylum. Like at some point before we saw him.
Did you notice they also don't call him Caleb?
Yeah, I know they call him Bren because it's his actual name.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, I wonder what the storyline is about him like changing his name or possibly losing his name.
I mean, he says earlier on that like when he's blaming the death of his parents and Frumpkin on Trent, the Frumpkin familiar kind of yells back at him. He's like, "Yeah, right. Yeah, I was the one that did it, but he was responsible for killing Bren." So somewhere in his mind, he believes that Bren is dead. It's clearly he's saying that his former self died and all that. And that is a bot that I'm gonna get rid of. I thought it was interesting that apparently we of course he's crazy. We put him in an asylum. I was like, he was in an asylum? When did this happen? I can only assume it must have happened after he burned his parents and cat alive, but I'm not sure how long after that it happened. And to your point with the whole Caleb and Bren thing, I wonder like when he did change his name or his identity. But they let him go saying that they owe him. So there's also a story behind that too, that apparently he must have saved them from something. I wonder what that was. But also to me, it's like it feels like Astrid specifically because I still find it interesting that she didn't immediately rat him out, especially to Trent, who was the one looking for him. By the way, she does tell Ergo, but it doesn't seem like she goes and tells Trent. So I don't know what the story with that is. I part of me thinks maybe she's still in love with him. Like it could possibly be maybe she still has feelings for him. As for Erdwulf, I don't know. He doesn't seem like he cares about him all that much anymore. But he lets them go, and that scares. And they say like, if we see you again, we're not gonna be nice again. And then like they disappear. After they insult him about him, running away was his greatest skill, which means that he ran away at some point and left them with Trent. And then we cut away back to, I believe, back to Caleb coming back to the inn. And then we have not walking in. Yeah, between all that, we see, like, we already talked about, Essek killing his best friend. Okay, we cut back to Caleb back at the inn, and then he sits down, and then Not walks in right after him. And Not obviously very upset with him, and he's like, I bought you some wine, and she's like, I'm listening. And I was like, that is such a Not thing of like, you brought me wine, fine, I'll hear you out.
Mm-hmm.
And he explains to her like, I'm sorry that I abandoned you. Now you're asking for a friend, and he suggests that maybe these two run away from the Empire to live different lives. And Not thinks about it and says like, I like that idea, but I have a different idea. And then she brings up like storming the Empire to get the
let's become fucking heroes.
Basically. But
I think he says something along those lines, doesn't he? Yeah.
Says it drunkenly. But basically she says like, let's be heroes, and then he's like, what's the two of us gonna do? And it's like, no, not two. And then she opens the door, everybody else is back, and it's like, oh, cool, they're all back. They didn't stay separated for more than one episode. That's cool. And then we cut away from that, because apparently they're gonna, I guess, strategize on how to get this beacon back. And then the part of the episode we didn't talk about, which I find interesting, and then I'll let Jock, oh lord, we are like 18 minutes over 12 o'clock. I did not realize. Shoot. Okay. Still gonna let Jock have his time now. Really quick, it's gonna just talk about this because not much is here, not until like later on. But basically, we have the gentleman giving the compass to Daragna, who we only saw at the very beginning of this episode. Apparently, she had sent him to find people to go get the compass for her, to go get the compass for him so he can give it to her. She pays the gentleman, and as he's about to leave, he says that she asked him did he find somebody else to deal with the other problem, which was like getting the Lux beacon. So they refer to it as the artifact, but I'm pretty sure they're talking about the Lux beacon. And he's like, I may have found some capable fools. And she's like, okay, I'll hear from you then. And he walks away, and then she's looking at this compass, which, by the way, she comments on the fact that this compass is like pristine. But I thought it was interesting. Like, apparently they're expecting this compass to be really badly worn, but apparently it's not. And she chances to go over the compass, and then the compass comes alive, showing a map, and she's like, I recognize these ruins. And then she says, Eridos, something like that, and then take me to Eridos, and then the compass thing shifts over to an entirely empty like landmass. And then she pulls a book out of her drawer, which I didn't recognize at the time until recently rewatching it, or like watching a reaction. I wasn't aware of this, but it seems like they're insinuating that Daragna was the magician or whatever, the mage that took the book from like when Lucien / Molly during that whole like ritual thing. Like, it seems like they're insinuating, because it seems like that's the book that was his book. And then I only say this too because after she pulls the book and enchants something out, an eye pops up under her hand, and her eyes turn red like Molly's do. And then the episode just ends with her laughing maniacally. And I'm only insinuating that she's supposed to be the next villain we're going to deal with, based on the way they kind of like had her flex a little of her plan or whatever she's trying to do. But the episode ends that way, and I'm like, okay, I think Molly is gonna be the next focus, the next season. I'm here for it because so much of it seemed Molly focused. Like, I don't know what was going on there. I'm guessing she might know Molly, and I guess if she ever sees him again, she'll probably call him by his original name.
Mhm.
Like, that's my insinuation. But that is it on my end. I tried to go by as fast as I could. Didn't realize we're 18 minutes over. If you want to go over your notes, the notes you still have left, be my guest. I apologize.
Let's see what I got. I'm sorry if I say something that you said already. We don't really know who Curator Tasha is other than the quick mentions in this, right?
No, they say that she's one of the souls. Apparently she's the one that Dyron went to and reported, so that's about it. I don't think she's really important otherwise.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but as far as I know.
Give me 1 second.
Mm-hmm. 1 second. 2 second. 3 second. Dang it.
All right. I know I mentioned this earlier, but the need for a second swipe with the axe guy was very savage and an interesting way to set the tone for the episode, especially when the executed looked more like a late middle-aged librarian than a rebel. Don't you think?
Repeat that again. Who looked like a what now? Are you talking about Kira and Tasha looking like she's a librarian? Hello?
Curator Tasha, yeah, like she looks more like a middle-aged librarian, late middle-aged librarian than like some sort of rebel that deserved to be violently executed.
Aren't the Cobalt Soul monks called librarians for the most part? I'm mostly saying that because like maybe she's meant to look like a librarian.
Yeah, I mean, she's a curator. This is going to be a stupid question, but I'm going to look up what a curator is. Maybe it is kind of a librarian.
I mean, the Cobalt Soul monks carry a
A
lot of knowledge.
keeper or custodian of a museum or other collection. Yeah, so they're giving her pretty severe.
Well, her execution was the idea of Trent, so I think that's why she was executed the way she was.
Yeah,
She was the one that, well, I wouldn't say ratted, but she curated the entire insurrection that led to him being flogged earlier. So obviously he will want retribution.
Yeah, that's fair. I know it's just for his satisfaction, but like, wow, like I can't believe people actually bought it. The Cobalt Soul was the last place that could stand up to him, so I guess she like represents that the Cobalt Souls have been defeated. So, building on what I just said, like maybe she really was a rebel disguised, as a curator, but like they found like the mole, you know what I mean, and she was the mole. I think it's interesting that like Trent and Vess are like high-level rivals. Do you know what I mean? Like Trent, like at first you get the impression that Trent is the superior one because she sucks up to him, and then at the end he says, "Oh, we all have our own secrets, don't we? And if you cross into mine again, Vess, you are a dead woman," which is even more dead. It's more evil when he says "you are a dead woman" instead of "you're." And then she says, "As always, Trent, I'd like to see you fucking try." You know, and you know that like he's made these threats before to her, and she's not afraid of him. So that's kind of cool. And then she actually does kind of get the upper hand at the end because she's got just as good a chance of getting the beacon as Essex does, the way things are set up.
I want to point out really quick that when she had retorted to Trent's threat, I liked her so much more. But then after what she does at the end of this episode, I got a bad feeling she's like literally the next villain in the next season. And I'm really disappointed that that's where we're going to go with her, because I really did kind of like her. Because like we've seen her in the first episode when she was talking to Trent, saying that she didn't really trust him. It just seems kind of weird. It's like, no, man, we can't trust nobody in this freaking world, can we? But continue.
Sure, give me a sec.
I can say more words, like you get your thoughts together, saying more words, say more words.
Thank you.
No, that didn't help.
At 6:45, everyone just kind of goes their own way, and it's so unexpected because they spent the whole series like putting these guys together, and then you see that and you're like, wait a minute, what?
I mean, it's not really unexpected. I mean, I guess it is. At the same time, it isn't. I mean, every single person of this tribe, if you want to call it, were all brought together because they all got put in jail. It wasn't like they came together of their own free will. And they each all had their own goals that they needed to achieve. Some of them more immediate than others, such as like Ford and Jester. Ford did say that he was going to take Jester to the end, so he felt like he needed to do that. Bo, her master was in trouble, so she needed to go and see if she was okay. Granted, she should have probably known better, but you know, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Molly is a free thinker. He'll go wherever he wants to go. And Caleb is like, Caleb was Caleb. He wanted to take down Trent anyway by himself. So this worked out for him in the long run. Not really was probably the one that kind of got screwed in the deal. But she wanted to stick together, but no one else did.
Yeah, that's fair. I think honestly, the move is unexpected, and it's unexpected, I think, by design. And I think that what we're seeing here is everybody is splitting up because at least half of them have unresolved issues. Would you say that's fair? Like, the reason that most of them split up with the other ones is because either one or both of them have some unresolved issues that they need to kind of deal with.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Let's see. I liked that Molly gave Jester the Chaos and Joy card. I like that Molly repeated his words of wisdom: never steal from happy people. I really liked at 9:20 the conversation between Not and Caleb, where he's like, "Why are you here, Not?" And he's like, "I thought it was obvious because we're friends. Before I met you, I was just trying to find a ditch to die in." Caleb doesn't want Not to be in danger. I think he thinks that he's about to go on a suicide mission.
I mean, I think he was going to go on a suicide mission. He almost died later. Yeah,
but I think that's what's going on there, is like he's about to go on a suicide mission, and he like knows it.
Was he trying to get caught by those two? I feel like there was something odd about that whole confrontation. Because Frumpkin's whole wandering about makes little sense. Unless he was intending to.
I think Frumpkin could very easily be bait, and I think that he's used Frumpkin as bait in the past. But in this case, I think that Frumpkin is more like there incidentally, and they just caught on to it. I think Frumpkin might have been scouting out. What do you think?
Sorry for ruining your train of thought. Sorry for ruining your train of thought. I think you were... I forgot where you were. It was after... You're talking about Caleb and not...
Yeah, that's okay. Like, what do you think otherwise? About the cat? I'm sorry. So anyway, Caleb, I'm pretty sure Caleb believes he's about to go on a suicide mission, and that's... He doesn't want to bring Not down with him. Vera discovers Essex sold the beacon to save his mother's soul. Why at 1335? I guess Ford abandoned Jester, despite the fact that he seemed like sincerely cared for her because he wanted to protect her from the danger that he was in. Does that make sense to you?
I would consider abandoning her. He was completing his mission. That he was supposed to drop her off, and I think Jester got that. Is that Jester just wanted to continue to tag along because I think honestly something about Jester being alone. She probably doesn't like being alone all that often because she was isolated. Maybe something to do with that. I don't know. I'm probably looking too deep into that, but I don't think she felt like she was abandoned. I didn't really take that scene as her being abandoned.
I think she feels abandoned.
I don't know if she really did feel abandoned. I feel like she didn't want to be separated from him. I think she understood because I mean she understood everything that he was saying to her about, like, I mean yeah, he probably didn't want to get her involved in what he was doing. I mean, who would? I mean, he literally was nearly drowned to death. Well, maybe he wouldn't have been drowned because he probably would have said breathe, and he was like well, I don't know. It just really felt abandoned. No way of knowing, but I don't know. She didn't really seem to take him leaving. Because it also sounded like Ford was intending to come and meet Jester again, but only after he had done what he needed to do.
Yeah.
That's how I'm choosing to take it anyway.
I think that's fair. I think he had true feelings for her, and he left her behind because he didn't want to drag her into his problems. I think he already feels pretty guilty about having lost his mentor, and that he didn't want to like do anything else that was worse.
I can see it.
Thought it was cool that Bo got a staff. I can't wait to see her use that. It looks badass the way it like flips out and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
You don't care. You don't care about me and my...
No, I mean, I care. I already made a joke about a Bo staff. I was trying to prevent myself from making it again.
That's all right. Not is abandoned with the button and booze, hates his addiction. I thought that was possibly the most powerful moment in the entire episode, possibly the entire show, when he like loses his temper and throws the bottle against the wall and it crashes and it's a pile of like spilled booze and broken glass on the ground, and then he can't resist it, and he comes over and licks it off the ground. It's a very, very sad moment.
Yeah, I still get the feeling. I know you don't, but I still get the feeling she doesn't like the way she looks. There is seriously something. There is some serious hatred whenever she's looking in the mirror. It's one of the weirdest feelings I've seen in a character. It's like, because they purposely put her in front of a mirror multiple times. By the way, it's like this has happened multiple times, and she's gotten to look at herself in the mirror.
Yeah, she does not like being a goblin.
I don't know. I've never heard of a self-hating goblin before. This would be a first one for me.
I'd say that she stands out in a lot of ways from typical goblins. The next comment I have, first of all, let me see. Molly follows Kree, ignites his blood power. The blood stains all over the room, including runes and symbols drawn in blood. And then my next line just says, Kusho Bast, Undrudu Mosh, Krafa and Mosh, Wuku and Mosh. And then I wrote, sure, buddy.
Yeah, I don't know what that was being chanted in his ear.
Some other language, sure.
I don't know if it was a regular language, but just, well, I mean, I guess it would be a language, because, I mean, if it was using a ritual, but it's just, something serious happened there. Somebody lost a lot of blood.
I'm checking to see if anyone translated it without getting too many. I'm curious if it means something or if it's... Yeah, it looks like there's no translation. I was curious if that had some deeper meaning.
I think it was just gibberish.
I like that Ford has his awkward heart-to-heart moment with the priest, quote-unquote, and it turns out to be the same place they trash later, which I want to point out is probably place number 4 that they've trashed so far.
Are you really keeping track of the places they accidentally demolish?
Yeah.
Okay, just want to make sure.
I think it's a running joke that I think it's a running joke that they have to destroy everywhere that they visit. You don't think so?
I mean, it could be. I mean, I haven't really been clocking in on the amount of places they've destroyed, because it's everything else is a little bit more important than my brain power. But I mean, if it's happened 4 times now, I mean, if it's happened twice, it's usually a running joke. But like Ford vomiting on people. Caleb and the dung thing, which hasn't happened a lot. Sorry.
I mean, isn't vomit kind of a running theme in this show anyway?
I think it's just when he's happened multiple times and he's vomited on somebody. But sorry. It's this song. Okay.
I like that Frumpkin becomes the new Knot as soon as Frumpkin is out of the picture. Knot steps in. I mean, as soon as Knot steps out of the picture, Frumpkin steps in to be his wingman in stealing things.
I don't think Frumpkin steals anything. I think Frumpkin just becomes distraction tactics. I still find that weird. It's I thought Frumpkin was on a time limit. It doesn't seem like that's the case.
I thought they were kind of telling the story that Frumpkin, he's getting better at summoning her.
Yeah, I guess. I can take it like that. I just he needed something to be able to make the summoning or the permanent, but it doesn't seem like he needs that.
Mm-hmm. I love the suggestion that pretty much all of the Mighty Nine are filthy right now and in desperate need of a bath.
Oh, you talking when they all fell into poop and then Bo says, "Oh, we look like Caleb now."
What?
You're referring to the moment when everybody falls into the poo and then Bo just says, "Oh, we look like Caleb now." So they all are stinky. I don't remember. I don't remember them being stinky.
Caleb comes into the shop and smells so bad that that they basically say, like, "Look, we've got to clean you up here, dude."
No, I know I get Caleb and Bo. I don't think anybody else has been said that they stink. Has it? Maybe I missed it. I don't know.
Bo stinks, Caleb stinks, and I like to think that Not probably stinks. I guess the Caleb and Not thing is worthwhile too, in that it's like yet another time when they're showing the similarities there. What do you think? Like, between Bo and Caleb, they like to draw out lots of similarities.
You talking about when they both have a scene where they said that the others made them forget who they really were?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that Caleb had that same thought as Not.
I'm talking about Bo and Caleb themselves, like, both stinking. Like, it's just one more time that Bo and Caleb, despite being rivals in a lot of ways, like, are sort of like pretty much the same person. You don't think so?
I don't think I'd compare them to the same person. The stinking thing was a funny little bit, but I don't like, other than beyond that, I don't.
I don't know. I enjoyed it. In the end, it was Essex's mom that finally told Laylos of her affliction. I thought it was sad that it came to that. They point out really casually, without getting into too much detail, that Essex is on his first life. Did you happen to notice that little side comment? I thought that was an interesting detail.
No, I brought that up before. Yeah, I brought up that I noticed it. I mean, it's not the first time they brought up that he's on his own life. They keep bringing it up throughout the entire show when we bring up Essex about how he's young and stuff like that. I mean, yeah, that was interesting. I don't know what that means for him. I mean,
yeah. I didn't. Not just for him, but like, it's sort of like created rules for like the world in general. You know, like suddenly first lives are a thing. It was like there was almost like an uncertainty for me whether first lives were happened anymore. There was almost like a suggestion that lives were so precious, and that like when they lose one, that's it. You know what I mean?
I mean, you would have to have a life to be able to be reincarnated in the first place. So, I mean, first life feels like to me would always happen as long as like the birth of this person was like a genuine birth, I would assume. It's also weird that I don't know how Essex didn't get a soul put into him. Now you're saying that out loud. Because yeah, you would assume that Essex would have had another reincarnate. Yeah, it is weird that he is on his first life.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They slipped in a little bit of world building there. I was like, oh, okay, so like elves can be on their first life now, you know?
That might have something to do with their culture, at least this specific culture. Because again, they worship that well, he calls a rock, but they worship that mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't.
All right. Then Bo's a filthy lesbian. The soul can be seen when she dies, exiting the body and dissolving. But I thought that was just like a beacon thing. Like, what was going on there?
First of all, I heard what you did. Don't you dare pretend you didn't just slip in that she's a filthy lesbian.
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about.
I know you. I know what you did. As far as her, no, that was so like when they said that your soul can't go back into the beacon. That's what they're talking about. It just disappears. I don't know where it goes. Are you talking about the act of the soul just being visible, just be seen to disappear? Yeah, that whole thing was just a beacon thing.
Yeah, I thought that the magic of the beacon allowed you, like, no one else has their like soul floating outside of their body when they die, so it just kind of like threw me off a little bit.
But no, because she can't go back into the beacon though. Also, the beacon's nowhere near them. Like she was being killed because of her affliction. Because apparently, according to them and their laws, you can't go back in if you have that affliction. Because later on we see that like the queen's got it too. I think the soul just gone now. I don't think it's floating out anywhere. I think it's just disappeared.
Yeah, you see it float up and disperse. I just thought like nothing else. Nothing else that gets killed. Like when the woman gets executed at the beginning of the episode, you don't see like her soul like float out and disperse into the air. Like that's just not how this world works.
No, because her soul got absorbed to the beacon. We see it happen.
You don't see the soul float out and do anything. The soul doesn't exit the body in the execution scene in the beginning of the episode. The soul does not do anything.
I'm gonna go back and look at that then. Let me real quick. Because I thought we see the soul leave and then it gets pulled in. Because we see it happen again during the well, I mean it's a failure, but we see it. No, we see it twice again because we see it when you see the soul come out of the body when I almost call him Viren. When Tristan Tristan's one of his soldiers, when they die in front of it, the soul comes out and it gets drawn in.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, let me just get a look. You see the guy kills his wife. Also looks like they kill him with a special dagger from the looks of it. It doesn't flat out kill him with anything. Like that dagger seems to be important. One. Does he stab her again or just once? Yeah, the soul leaves her body. I mean, like the beacon draws on it, but the soul does leave her body and it goes straight to the beacon. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. It's being drawn to the beacon.
When they kill the mother, there's no beacon for it to go into.
That's what I'm saying. I think the soul is just leaving and gets dispersed. I think it might have something
like,
to do with that dagger.
you could say that, but where's the other? There's another time in the episode the soul flies out, isn't there?
I mean, when Tristan forcibly kills that one dude to force the soul into the beacon, but it doesn't work, then that soul disappears. Like it just turns into nothing.
Vandrin, I'm sorry. When Vandrin dies, you see the soul disperse and die too, with no reincarnation, and there's no special dagger and no ritual. At 39:52.
I'm confused with what you're saying is not consistent. I'm guessing I must not be getting it. Because I feel like at all time, if the soul didn't go into the beacon, of course it was going to disappear. The soul wouldn't just exist and do nothing in midair. I feel like that would cause a lot of congestion and just in air in general. I don't know why the soul wouldn't just leave the body and disappear. As far as we are aware, at least I suspect that it's got to be the Droll Society, and it's specifically them that have this going on, and no other race does. I think they're just special, maybe. I mean, elves are treated special anyway.
Yeah, I could definitely be.
But I feel like, what were you saying? What were you saying that was inconsistent?
Nothing I'm saying is inconsistent, but I just thought it was interesting that this whole time I was under the impression that the beacon was important in at least some way.
You talk about it is important.
As far as the soul, like dealing with the soul is concerned, I thought like the beacon's presence was the reason that you saw the soul at all. And then like you said, then it's like, okay, maybe it's the ritual dagger and the ritual itself, but when they kill Veteran, like there's none of that. Like he just gets killed.
Man, I don't know why the beacon would be responsible for you visibly seeing a soul, but okay.
Could you say that again?
No, man, no, I just don't know why the beacon would be responsible for why you should be able to see the soul. That was all I was saying. I don't think I ever made the connection that the beacon was connected to it.
Because when other things die in the show, you don't see that happen. That's why.
I never really made that connection, even back when it was just the elves. It might just be the elven society that we're introduced with, because, like, I mean, maybe they're special.
Yeah, that's fair enough, I guess. Either way, it's a little teensy bit frustrating to me. But not understanding how that works specifically, I guess it's just those elves. Maybe there's some, I could do some like in the universe like theories where like I say that maybe the elves like have some enchantment casted on them at birth or something. You know what I mean? I guess there's possible explanations that still lay there why only elves have a giant glowing ball fly from them and disperse into the air when they die. But until then, like I'm left kind of just wondering what the hell's going on.
I mean, that's their soul. I mean, I don't think it breaks anything. I don't really see
it doesn't,
how...
but I want to understand it more. I'm left wanting to understand it more, that's all. Anyway, did I lose where I was? No.
You're talking about Essex's mother dying and then the soul ball and everything that confused you.
Yeah. I think I scrolled past where I was for a second. Well, gets a staff, now is abandoned. Blood power, spell. Invulnerable, 99, Diartura. It's on his first life. Molly of Hidden Temple. Deirdre's last request is to return the beacon. The soul can be seen exiting the body. So Bo's a lesbian. Nako's full goblin. Very self-depreciating and self-sabotaging. I felt terrible for her. And so glad that Jester of everybody was the one that found her. Because I think either Jester or Molly would have been the best people to find her, but I think Not would probably connect the best with Jester between the two. And I love the characters in the show so fucking much. Every single character makes me so happy. Big fan of the characters in this show. Naked Ford speaks to the god Cthulian horror disguised as Vandrin, who says just keeps saying seek, learn, and consume, which is really unique, for lack of a better phrase. It seems to be the only things he's capable of saying to him. Seek, learn, consume. You're supposed to laugh there when I went seek, learn. That was like me trying to be funny. I wasn't funny, but I was trying to be funny.
I'm sorry, I must have missed it. Ha ha.
That was good. I like how that sounded like a chicken going. Baka!
I don't know. I probably thinks that freaking Cthulhian horror is trying to possess Ford, but I don't know how he's gonna. I don't know how he's gonna do it. I think that Cthulhian thing might be in a different universe, which is why he's only ever saying one word at a time. I don't think he's able to get more than maybe one word out to Ford at a time. But I don't know what's gonna happen to Ford if he eats that thing. I mean, it's not like he's gonna have to, but I don't know what's gonna happen to Ford the moment he eats it. Also, based on I think being a deity, like Ford's gonna get way more powers as we go further.
Yeah, I know. I was also like, well, how are you going to consume it? It seemed like he was going to like insert it into his stomach or something like that.
Or just gonna swallow it.
Just kind of go num 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 like that.
Just gonna be one big gulp.
Like when Piccolo in Dragon Ball like swallows the little jar containing Kami, and all I could think of is like, dude, what the fuck did you just do?
Or when Goku swallowed the Dragon Ball.
Yeah, what the hell, right?
I mean, I feel like this is just what it is. It's like that's all it really is at this point. It's like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think he's gonna have to swallow it. I don't know what that's gonna do to him though.
Speaking of Dragon Ball things, did you get the vibe? Like, I think this is just a me thing. There was a moment when the priest comes back out to talk, and he starts out with like, "My dear." I thought it sounded so much like Team 4 Star's version of King Cold that I had to look it up to see if it wasn't. And I even saved a video link so you could see it, and I have the timestamp if you want to compare it to the one in the show. I just dropped the video link, but like the timestamp is 31:45. And just for a second, not the whole conversation, just for a second, it sounded
You know that was our last
it
minion,
sounded
right?
like King Cold to me.
I think that might be a you thing. I listened to King Cole speaking. I will 1 minute go back to of all the. That's such a really weird cut. Not a deep one, just a really weird cut. Why would who the heck even voiced Team 4 Star's King Cold? I thought that was just a random dude on YouTube.
I looked it up. Yeah, it was some like YouTube alias. It wasn't like a real person.
Maybe he was doing a King Cold impression. I don't know. I mean, it's probably the same thing with like Matt Mercer. Like he sounded exactly like Grok but it really it wasn't him, and I was very caught off guard by it.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, where is it? How did I pass the temple so fast? Hold up.
As we have more at home.
No, I mean now we have no one to fly the ship.
I can fly it.
So
I guess there's a tiny bit of him, but it's like definitely not him.
It's definitely not him, but like for a minute, I was like, I gotta find out.
I wouldn't. I mean, I don't think Ray Chase is voicing King Cole. Though I think this guy does voice somebody in
It could
Dragon
have
Ball
been.
Z.
I mean, to be fair, it could have been like how he part of the reason that he became big or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, I could see someone from Team 4 Star turning out to be at least somewhat popular.
But honestly, I think Ray Chase has had a role in Dragon Ball Z because he's a voice actor, though he's also a game developer, which is strange that a lot of these people on this particular show are actually been in a game or are a game dev of some sort.
Yeah.
Yeah, he Ray Chase specifically, it definitely, that's weird. He's okay, he apparently was Tien Shinhan and Oolong and some snacky and ambassador, whoever that is. So he was on Dragon Ball Super. He's got like a long list of things that he's done. So yeah, though I will say on here it does say that it was a dub on Bang Zoom dub for Toonami Asia. So apparently he was heard in Toonami. He was heard in Asia apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Which is interesting, but yeah. I mean, I guess it was some, but yeah, I wouldn't have thought that was. And I'm not saying this being a you thing is a bad thing. I'm just saying like I wouldn't have made the connection myself. But, yeah. Everybody's different.
Why do you hate me?
Just don't leave your list, please.
Okay. Jester seems to be getting a little bit desperate to see and/or hear from the Traveler again. You can see like how she's being increasingly like high risk about it, which I thought was, I don't know, gave me feels for her. Like I want to see her do, get what she needs in her life. That priest surprised me because like even in the credits and subtitles and stuff, his name is just Priest. So like I was like, all right, here's a completely disposable character that's going to do nothing, and then suddenly he throws like golden magic bolts, and I'm like, my bro here is a little bit deadly.
He's a priest.
Yeah, but I mean, he can throw down. Like I don't know any priests personally in my personal life that can throw deadly golden bolts, but he certainly made it happen. It's easy to be crazy around other crazy people. Oh, at 34:55, Ford says, "If I didn't have this power, what would I do then?" And it reminded me a lot of this clip that I'm going to send you on Discord. It's a iconic moment between Tony Stark and Captain America in the MCU. It's only like a few seconds long. Would you give it a quick watch?
Big man in a suit of armor. take that off, what are you?
Genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist.
I know guys with none of that worth 10 of you. I've seen the footage. The only thing you really fight for is yourself. You're not the guy to make the sacrifice play, to lay down on a wire and let the other guy crawl over you.
I think I would just cut the wire.
Always a way out. You know, you may not be a threat, but you better stop pretending to be a hero.
A hero? Like you? You're a laboratory experiment, Rogers. Everything special about you came out of a bottle.
Really remember that, but Tony Stark and Captain America did not like each other when they first met. I watched it.
Just that whole like it's just a common theme among many superheroes, but in that moment right there, like I wondered if there was any inspiration in what happens in the Mighty Nine from that extremely famous moment. Just that idea, if I didn't have this power, what would I do then? And then like Captain America's like, all right, if you didn't have your suit, you know, what would you be? And he's like, oh, you know, billionaire, philanthropist, millionaire, blah, 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 blah. Rattles off a whole bunch of virtues that he has. I thought it was kind of like amusingly similar to what we were seeing. So I don't know. I just thought that was worth pointing out as an interesting little moment where like I don't know, there's still, all the characters are struggling so hard with like what they feel is their, you know, self-worth. You know what's funny? You mentioned that you think you're both the worst piece of shit and the shit at the same time, and I hate to break it to you, but those two things can't be true at the same time. I only now just noticed at 3636 that the marks on Molly's hands look like serpents. I'm really late to the party for that, I'm assuming, but it took me a long time to figure that out.
I mean, I can't say anything, dude. You're late to the party.
I'm just straight on late to the party with that.
Yeah, we've all already been intoxicated for several minutes now. You're just not catching up.
Oh dear. Let's see. We both noted that they threw him into the insane asylum. Astrid believes that Caleb would not know them. Did you talk about that very much a second ago? I might have missed a lot of that.
What? You missed a lot of what I said.
Yeah, what?
You missed a lot of what I said, but continue.
Well, do tell.
No, it's just some of the stuff you did bring up. I already mentioned, but I mean, I think you had your own spin on it, which I think was still
I'm kind of like some of this. I'm talking just to fill in the gaps while I look through my notes. But yeah.
What was about him? Did I mention what? I mean, sorry, I didn't get that last bit. Like, somebody didn't know somebody.
That they said if we do meet, he's nuts, and if we do meet him, he's not even going to know who we are.
Oh. Okay, like what I think about that. I mean, I thought it was interesting that they said they threw him in a sandstone. I don't know like what happened for him to be thrown in there. I guess it's for the comment of he wouldn't recognize us. I'm wondering, does that mean Caleb was Bryn was really messed up when they threw him in there? And Erdwolf is assuming he's still messed up?
I think there's a lot of interesting things going on here. Do those people even know that his name is Caleb, for example?
No, I don't think they knew he changed his name.
They call him Bryn. Like, no, they never acknowledge his name as Caleb. Is he Caleb as a
But he answers
like an alias
to Bryn, though.
To make it harder for them to what?
Doesn't he answer to the name Bryn still though? I mean, whenever they bring it up, it's like it seems like he doesn't seem to not acknowledge it.
Yes, I think that he knows that they know his real name is Bryn. I think he knows or thinks that they don't know that he's going by the name Caleb right now.
I mean, I feel like that he knows they don't know. I don't think he's like the only other person that would have known. Maybe he's going by Caleb was the one he killed earlier. Well, I say incinerated, but still, he killed her, Aurelia, because she would have been around enough to hear the other people call him Caleb. Those other two, I don't think know.
Not like Aurelia's people are being killed by Astrid's people, so I think that they wouldn't have passed that information along to each other, or even known that they were both looking for the same people.
But no, I don't think they know that he's going by Caleb. I don't think it really matters though.
Why not?
I mean, I don't think him going by a different name would have really changed anything. I could be wrong. I could be 100% wrong, but I don't know if his name change will really affect much of anything.
Well, it'd make him harder to find than if he went by his real name.
I don't know if that really matters, because like, she still found him.
She found him because he broke the amulet that was also protecting him from being found.
Yeah, but she still found him though. I mean, if a name change, because like if the name was also protecting him along with the amulet, I don't think he would have been all that concerned about the amulet breaking, because he still have a sort of protection around him. It seemed like to me the amulet was the only thing protecting him. Because after the amulet broke, she immediately found him. It wasn't like it took a while. No, she immediately found him.
She happened to be continuing. She found him because she was still continuing to look for him.
I don't think it has anything to do with his name change. I don't think his name would make it harder, especially if they knew what he looked like. You can't change that. Well, I guess he could if he had transmog whatever Spovid, but like I don't think his name had anything to do with him, with him hiding. Again, I could be completely wrong about that, but I don't know. It didn't seem like to me. It's like if his name was also an escape mechanism, like she wouldn't have found him as easily as she did. Even if she was just still looking for him, like I highly doubt not knowing his second name would make that any harder. Especially if they're really hard to. Especially from the way Caleb makes it sound like they're really hard to hide from. Like he needs the amulet to hide from him. He makes it he makes it unequivocally clear that the amulet's really the thing that's keeping him hidden. Because Aurelia only found him because he happened to be walking back to get his amulet. She didn't know she was gonna find him. She was tailing Bo.
Yeah, that's fair. But I think that he was doing many things to ensure that he was not found, and among those things he did to ensure that he was not found was take a different name to protect his identity. And so that would help him not be tracked, from documentation. And then he had the magical amulet to hide him magically, and perhaps he did other things to hide his identity as well, like move around a lot. He was always going from one town to the next, like he didn't want to stay in one place for too long.
I don't know. I'm still I think it was just the amulet that was protecting him, because he didn't seem like
the amulet was protecting him from one specific thing, and that sometimes I really wonder why we have these conversations. If Caleb went by they know his real name, correct?
Yes.
If they went into an inn and they said, "We're looking for someone named," what's his name, Bryn?
Here's the first problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
He's never checking into inns, or he's not doing anything. he's not checking into places. He's going in there and hiding and resting in places. I think this is the first episode where we see him actually, I guess, quote unquote, check into an inn. He's personally never. He's always squatted.
But his name as Caleb has gotten around a little bit, right? He's worked with people in the underworld. He's sooner or later he knows that he's going to meet somebody with whom he must share his name. That's what you do. It looks more suspicious to not share your name ever than to pick up an alias and occasionally share your name. Correct?
I mean, yeah, in a situation that's not in the magical world, yes.
Yeah. So, if these magical people, and there's only so many magical people in this world, thought, gee, like, what if we were to say, I don't know, send some minions out to help us look for this one person, and those minions didn't have magical powers, they could still walk in and say, hey, we're looking for a person named so-and-so. And lo and behold, his name so-and-so has been mentioned at least somewhere, and they're going to be able to find him as a result of that. They're not going to be able to cast a magical spell because he has that pendant on, but because he's used his regular name like a moron in that hypothetical situation, then yes, they will be able to find him. So what he might have thought, being the very intelligent man that he is that he could use a not his name that he just consistently gives out, and because they don't know what that name means him, it's harder to find him. If you change your name, it's harder to find you.
I mean, that's assuming that anybody else was looking for him.
Why take any fucking chances, dude?
Why would anybody else looking for him? I mean, the only person that knows anything about him is Trent.
Yeah, and Trent is probably going to have minions do his work on some level, rather than go after him himself, right?
Only the Bloodsuckers,
or both. Though. He has minions, so why not both?
Those minions are Volsuckers, though.
We're changing the subject, dude. I'm not getting through to you.
Why can't you just set my thought process and move on from there? You get really upset when I do this.
Because it's a little dumb, my friend. Respectfully, Caleb really, really, really doesn't want to be found, and so instead of just counting on this magical amulet, he has done a second thing that makes him harder to find. There's no reason for him to use his normal name when he can just say his name is Caleb.
I mean, I get all that, but at the same time, for me, it's like, I don't know why he would, quote unquote, trust anybody beyond. I mean, if he knows he's been that amulet, and then for me, I don't know how much. I mean, you're saying that this is to help him word of mouth, but I mean, he doesn't really change. If you're going to change your name, change your physical appearance. It doesn't seem like he's done that either. It doesn't seem like he's really all that hidden, other than from the eyes of the Volsucker. That's just what I'm thinking. Magically speaking, and whatever. I feel like the amulet's doing more protecting than his name, but they don't know.
Yes, of course, the magical amulet is doing the biggest thing, but it doesn't mean that the name wouldn't help someone find him.
I'm probably thinking maybe the name is something else, but whatever. I mean, hey, whatever. I'm not gonna argue with you on it.
That you just did.
I'm not gonna argue any further with it. You already said my thought process was dumb. I'm not gonna fight you on it.
Well, I just don't understand. I don't understand why you would resist that conversation. He wants to do everything he can. So he's gone to great efforts to obtain a magical amulet that makes him impossible to find, and on top of that, of course, why not change your name too? I just don't understand why you're pushing back on the idea that he probably thought it was a good idea to change his name when he clearly did change his name, and it's clear that the people that Astrid and the other guy, when they found him, are showing signs that they don't know that he doesn't go by the name Brent anymore.
I don't personally think it
very,
really
very
means
obvious
anything.
to me
Not to me. I mean, that's why I don't think it really
he
means
just
anything.
thought he just switched it like someone would switch like their Discord name. He's like, oh, okay, today I'm going to be Caleb. Tomorrow I'm going to be John. No, he changed it for a reason, my friend.
I mean, why not? He thinks Bren is dead. He literally has said that Bren is dead.
Who?
Caleb.
Yeah. So if they suddenly started hearing about Bren, then that would be a little suspicious now, wouldn't it? He might as well have a new name. Okay, otherwise, why don't you tell me why he has a new name?
I'm not giving any real thought to it. I just thought it was just like that's the name he wanted to go by. Some people do change their name just because they want to. I'm not saying Caleb is one of those people, but people do. It's not something unheard of. Sometimes you just want to go by a new name. But yeah, it's like we're not really gonna fight you on it. Again, it's like you don't like my train of thought. That's fine. I'm not here trying to change anybody. That's just like I didn't give it too much thought because I didn't give it too much thought because I didn't think it was really all that important. That was just my thought process on it. I thought it was intriguing, but it was not intriguing enough to really look into it further.
All right. I thought it was interesting. Well, first of all, Caleb walks right into that trap like an amateur, like the same thing where he went through a field of them, during his training. He walks right into it this time, like no avoiding it whatsoever. That trap that like ties him down, basically. And then when they catch him, one of them says to him, "You still have a spark," which was interesting to me because, of course, his name was Little Spark. So I thought that was kind of a cool little detail. Let's see. Oh, just like a little moment of irony, I thought. Do you think so?
With the little spark comment? I mean, that was really weird that she said that. I don't know what that was referring to, either his attitude or his magic.
I think it was kind of both. I think they thought he was a broken. They didn't think he was dead. I know you said they thought he was dead. They don't think he was dead because she kept casting the spell to try to find him.
No, I mean, he says that he makes it obvious that he believes that Trent. I'm talking about Caleb thinking, saying that Brent is dead. Because as far as he's concerned, he's dead. I knew that they weren't because they were looking for him.
Yeah, they seem to they follow Trent, but they seem to have a good amount of their own agency with things. I could see them turning on Trent before the show was over.
They last long enough.
They, despite believing that he was nuts and wouldn't recognize him if they saw him, when they finally meet him and he recognizes them immediately and it's quickly apparent that he's not nuts, they don't seem especially surprised. They just kind of roll with it. I guess they're super trained, you know what I mean? And maybe the workaround is that they're so trained that they, you know what I mean, nothing hits them too hard. But just a sort of interesting little detail I saw. So I've been wondering about the connection between the characters in general. And I thought that maybe one of the reasons that Trent has had them do terrible things, like when they went and burned his family, to the ground, home with the family in it to the ground and stuff like that. That not only was it a test, but it was some sort of trauma-based conditioning. And I thought that the line where they say, "You haven't done what we've done," in an accusatory way, sort of reinforced that theory I had that they had kind of trauma bonded in the past. What do you think about that?
Matt took when she said that you haven't done what we done. Like they done way more worse. They had done way worse things after he left. But
Yeah,
trauma thing. I mean, obviously the trauma thing. I mean, he told Brent to go kill his family because they were traitors. And then like as that was happening, he went straight to his knees, crying and in pain. Yeah, I think there was trauma associated with everything that they've been doing. I mean,
yeah, but do
Willie
you
calls
think that,
him
like,
father.
do you think that to some extent, like, having them do terrible things was done specifically to force them to bond with each other through like the difficult times that they endured together?
I mean, I don't think with each other. I think he was trying to force some dependence on him. I think like them bonding with each other might have just been like an accidental consequence of what was going on.
Uh-huh.
More than anything, I think Trent was trying to make a dependence on him. Because again, Welly and Simeon calls Trent father when she's telling him to come back. It's like father still will accept you. That was a small little detail that Welly says directly to him, and like that's like before he attacks her. No, that's before Bo attacked him. I mean, yeah, there is some trauma training done, but I think the trauma training is to make their dependence on him and above everything else that goes on. I think it's why if they all did kill their parents, then yeah, he wanted to trauma them into submitting to him.
Yeah, I could see that. 3944, Astrub says to Caleb, well, she says to the other guy, but clearly referencing Caleb in front of Caleb, he won't come back. Of all your talents, running away was your best. I think it's very significant that she says that to him, and then he goes directly from there back to not who he had run away from. Instead of like taking that heart to heart and like chasing them even more doggedly. Not that he never will, but like instead of going that route, like his immediate reaction is, I ran away from Not, and then he goes and finds Not and patches things up and apologizes and everything else. I don't think it's an accident that those things happen in that order. I'm almost done with my notes. I really like Not. Not is my favorite character. Like, by a pretty good margin at this point. I'm selfish and may be broken. But for a moment, you and the others helped me forget who I really am. Is what Not said. What Caleb says to Not. But it's interesting because you see Not having a very like physical reaction to hearing him say that. And I think one of the important reasons that he did is because he said almost the same thing to Jester. Like, he said, I felt normal for a minute. I forgot that I kind of told Jester the same thing. I kind of forgot I was a goblin for a minute. And then you guys took off, and I kind of remembered, oh yeah, I'm a goblin. I'm horrible. And then it probably would have, the same thing probably would have resonated if said to Ford too. Not in the gang are back together to be fucking heroes. The gentleman sells the compass to Vess. He said he was going to sell it on the black market, which I would argue is not true if he's just specifically selling it to Vess. But I guess Vess can count as a one-person member of the black market, but it did strike me as at least a tiny bit misleading. Vess is now competing with Trent to get the beacon. I missed that the first time I watched it, that connection, that like they were competing with each other directly to see who would get the beacon first. The compass is a map to something called Eiselcross. And then Vess Eiselcross leads to like basically an eyeball appearing on her hand, which she seems very happy about. So, and that's the end of my notes.
I mean, the eyeballs are very similar to the eyeballs all over Molly's body. And her eyes are light up the same shade of red that his does too.
Yeah.
Like my suspicion, she's connected to Lucien or Molly, whatever his name is. She that book apparently also that she takes out of her drawer. People have made comments, and I didn't even remember this, but apparently it looks like that book that's inside the drawing that we see on the wall. It's got eyes all over it too. That's why I thought, I was like, wait a minute, is she the mage that absconded with the book? They said the ritual failed or whatever like that, but they called a mage in to do the ritual.
Yeah. I don't know.
I think it would make sense if it was her, though. I mean, whatever went on in Lucien sounded like it needed some really powerful person. Whatever it was. Okay, we are very late into the podcast time here. We have already crossed into 1:32 in the morning.
And it's the latest we've ever gone.
Accidentally, again, that is my fault. Good night, everybody. We'll see you guys next week for the finale. And after that, there'll probably be like a 3-week hiatus. We'll explain that later.
I bet it's at least more like 2.
We'll explain more about that later. If we remember to. Good night.